Yo, yo, yo. What's going on? What's going on, fellas?
What's up? What's up?
What's up? Happy Halloween.
Oh, yeah, it is Halloween. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a trick over here. We're having a morning session and stuff. This is a first time, for the pod. We was having some extreme difficult technical issues and stuff last night, and so we decided to deliver a morning podcast and stuff here, man. So it's been good so far. Adrian, man, how was your week?
Oh, not bad, not bad. Doing a lot of work on the AI side. I made a country song last night from a joke in our group chat that I got with friends of mine, and was able to actually cook this up in maybe a minute and a half on Suno, and it was a lot of fun. Would you like to hear it?
Actually, we would. Anything? Are you doing the chorus? Are you doing the hook, or is the voice itself AI generated too?
This is my voice. I actually put
Mm.
it into the uploads there, and then gave it a prompt to write a country song about driving down a dirt road, drinking whiskey with your dad. Um, uh, you know, the joke was wearing MAGA hats. I don't want to make this like a political thing, but like that, it was like, I'm hanging out with my dad. We got our MAGA hats on, and then it turned into a whole thing in the group chat, just as a joke. But I put that into the prompt, and it wrote. Let me see here. Sitting on that old sun setting down. Mega hats on tight. Ain't nobody around. That goes on. That goes on for a full song, full hook, everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that was fun.
If you're about to release a country album, we would like to ask you to sponsor this podcast, before you
Yeah.
blow up and stuff.
Yeah, before I change up on you, you know what I mean?
Beyonce's leading the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, great. Sekou, how was your week?
Oh man, busy. It's always busy in my world, you know. But I would do a little bit of a little professional development using my using Notebook LM, which I've been finding very interesting. Uh,
Mm.
like I've been just tossing information in there, just like things that I know that are like already publicly available about me, and trying to like get like having it create a podcast based off of me as a subject. I found super fascinating, and I think the AI is like, or the LM is like tuned to be super positive. So it ends up like if you're having a bad day, put some information inside of Notebook LM about you and have it do a podcast, and nothing will cheer you up better than that. So,
And look, this you should have a webhook attached to it that sends it over to Alexa, so you can get an alarm
oh,
clock that wakes you up with this new generated podcast every single day. You
mm-hmm,
know, with
mm-hmm.
your all your information stuff within.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. I tell you.
Oh man, yeah, man. On my end, been building some stuff too as well. I have a client that I'm working with, and building use some computer vision tools. Kind of on the front end and stuff. There, use computer vision tools to kind of scrape and stuff the information and stuff that they gave us from some of the we'll call it aspect stuff that they're using. And so using computer vision, scrape the information, take the information, send it over to OpenAI, everything to do everything like summaries, extractions of date, character recognition when it comes to people, and a few other things, and then sending all that information and storing it into a VD vector database too as well. And so we're into some challenges and stuff there lately, but I was able to figure it out and stuff. And so yeah, man, it's been my week and everything so far.
Yeah, dealing with the embeddings is a pain. It's a lot of like just, hoping that they're going to go through and like really map and index correctly. But you get used to it. But like the more that you work with it, for sure, I've learned more about how to be effective with it.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna ping you because there's some questions I have over there, and so I was trying to give OpenAI a chance to use their vector database, but I might have to switch thing to Pinecone or something like that, and so yeah, I'll definitely hit you up and everything because that's annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
I always say you should always give before you leave OpenAI's ecosystem and using all of its tools. Just try it once in Claude. Just try it once. Try it once. Use artifacts once, and see how you feel about that.
Wow.
I feel like it's a different experience.
I see so many people that have become Claude prostitutes.
Claude institutes.
And I'm seeing so many people. On my end, I haven't seen that big of a change. Like I haven't got that big of a difference in response or anything. And it's a lot of this is still like in the prompting and stuff and everything as well. But I haven't seen that big of a change and stuff on my end. And I've tried. I've taken times where I wrote the same prompt and I'll put it in OpenAI and I put it in Claude and everything, and it's just like, and then maybe also too because I'm still in a free tier, but you still get access to 3.5.
Yeah.
So but it for me, I just haven't seen that big of a change. I haven't seen that big of a change to switch. I will say that's just been on the website. I haven't tried the API side and everything and stuff yet, at least on Claude. But yeah, and so yeah, I just haven't entertained that big of a difference. It for me is actually kind of added some steps and frustrations and everything. So yeah,
API is just a tad bit different too if you're using that. So, but yeah, it is. It's really the LMs are super close to each other, but the tooling that they have around it, and I think that is what the differentiator is around with Claude. They both have like their pros and cons, things like that. But when it comes to like memory and how that's used, I feel like that is the area that OpenAI is kind of catching up right now to Claude on. And somehow they leapfrogged them on some of these like components. But OpenAI has come back with their agentic workflow that they're promoting. So
Yep.
we'll see.
And Canva.
One question about that, Sekou. So when you say how their the memory utilization and how their system is structured, how does that show itself to you using the application? Like, what are the key? Is it speed?
It's speed. The chance of it like veering off from what you've put into the actual and their version of embeddings, which is the artifacts. And also, they do some little tricks so that you don't get charged by interacting with the with artifacts as much as you do with using it on the OpenAI side. But I think that's kind of the main difference. It's like there's a higher chance you put something in artifacts for it to actually be relevant to the your session than it is in OpenAI. So
yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to keep playing with it and stuff for sure. But yeah, I've tried it several different times. I also think here's a question
Hmm.
on the. I remember around the initial time where Claude was definitely starting to get popular, and I was asking people how they felt about it. Um, it also felt like there was a component of Claude was giving you slightly different responses than ChatGPT, which made it feel like a totally new experience because we've been using ChatGPT for consistently for so long. So a lot of times we were kind of getting some of the same you know same window of responses, and it's like Claude came in and give you like a 10% difference, and you're like, oh my god, this is the best thing in the world. You know, what do you guys think about that? Because again, I think it's also to coming back down to how detailed and how defined and stuff you can write your prompt. That may be why I just haven't seen that much of a difference or anything per platform on which each platform. But what's your guys thought?
Hmm.
It sounds like what I'm hearing is like Coke versus Pepsi, MTV versus VH1, kind of, whatever kind of format better suits you would be the
Hmm.
one that you would choose. In that case, if the answers are basically the same, but it's the formatting, it's the style that you like better, it's like,
That's
you know, that's the differentiator.
that feels like probably the best analogy right now. I just remember so OpenAI's competitor to Artifacts is Canvas, which has the integration of adding
Yeah.
different components into it. Um, so that is the comparable piece. So if you are using Canvas,
Yeah,
as
I am.
opposed to that's the one they're using, yeah, Artifacts is the direct competitor to that. And there's like I said, there's when you go down, I'll send you a just like a maybe you can actually post this as like a artifact after the show, showing the comparison between Canvas and
Mm.
Artifacts.
There you go. Like a little workshop session. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely love to see because I would love to see like you guys' experience too as well of what's the big difference, and stuff there. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just haven't seen that huge difference. And I've used Canva too as well. I mean, I know it's in beta, but I've definitely found some issues and some bugs and stuff with it. Um, does OpenAI have a bounty program?
A bug bounty program?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
Maybe my new side hustle.
Yeah, I know.
So, because yeah, I found a few issues and stuff with it, um, and
You
how it's
do.
taken. Please send it to me,
Yeah.
because yes, guess who's about to get sidetracked? This guy. But yeah, so yeah, I definitely found some issues and everything with it too as well. I haven't tried. Actually, yes, I did. I did try Claw's artifact, and I tried Canva into as well. Canva definitely it's in beta, but it still has some
Oh,
issues.
make sure I'm saying the right thing. It said so OpenAI Canvas is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Um, oh, but you're talking about your use of Canva itself, the new integrated GPT that they have. Right.
No, no, no. The
Oh,
yeah,
OpenAI Canvas.
oh, you are
yeah, the
talking about
canvas.
OpenAI's Canvas.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
got you, got you.
And so yeah, they got some issues and stuff.
Yeah.
I found.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Bug bounty. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I know someone made a significant amount of money when Google around the time Google opened their bug bounty program, like some like almost like a decade ago or whatever. It was quite some time ago. And so yeah, so yeah, we'll definitely figure that out. You know what? Something here. Sekou, you and I have something in common. Adrian, I know you're gonna join the family here soon. We both have Teslas,
Hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
we we definitely have our experience, and I think also too the autonomous experience is all based off your understanding and expectation and
Yeah.
stuff of it. And so, you can kind of get into it with an awe if you have like a low or just zero amount of expectation. But, if you are expecting it to be, oh man, oh, Knight Rider, huh? And stuff, and it just kind of like,
Although the
you,
summons does make me feel. I started using the summon when I get off the train, and I do kind of feel like Michael Knight a little bit summoning the car to come to me. It is a pretty cool feeling.
That's my favorite part. That's my favorite feature is the summoning, because for instance, where I live, the parking is really, really tight. If I could summon it out of that space, just to, just that would be huge.
But also, this is where the expectations come in. Like, make sure there's no. I always make sure there's no obstacles. There's no cars around me. I'm getting there. Like the parking lot's empty. There's no pillars
Mhm.
next to the car.
Oh,
You
okay.
won't be able to see because I've seen some folks on Reddit who have had a bad time with their summoning.
That's good to know then. That's good to know.
But expectations, as you say, Marlon. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I would like to see? I would love, and this is not a promoting to this area. I just know, there's one individual, there's one case that beat a DUI because he or she was on FSD.
Really?
Mm.
I know it's out there somewhere.
Oh.
I just
Yo.
know, because it's like, is it the law that I'm behind the wheel, or is it the law that I'm driving, the car and everything? I'm behind the wheel, and I've had a few, but I'm nowhere near driving this week. And I just know there's at least one person, especially when it first kicked off, that has beat a DUI case because they were in FSD full self driving.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
The person got in there and represented himself, probably. Had all the evidence.
I think that's the future. That's Elon's future. You could be asleep and have the car drive you around. That's like
Yeah.
that's what we're being sold right now. It's what the future he's envisioning. We can sleep, and
Yeah.
when we sleep, we can be inebriated.
Yeah. I do believe there's a potential to get to that future. Um I it's I would say it's some years away. I mean, just even take out regulations. So let's say like regulation in insurance is approved of it today. The safety of it to take a nap or just completely be, t- hands off, you're in the back seat, like where it may be. I've seen, my FSD freak out so many different times. And it's not consistent, but it only takes one time, for it to something to happen, and it kind of just, you know, go off the road or, freak out or just hit the brakes or whatever it be. And so um I think we're some time away,
Yeah.
from that being a safely reality versus a reality.
Yeah, well, so we'll see what Elon Musk says with his XAI. Maybe he'll speed this up a little bit with his all the GPUs he's building behind the scenes here. So
Yeah, that's one of our topics today, I believe.
And speaking of too, I mean, he definitely has some competition and stuff now. Waymo, Waymo has recently raised $5.6 billion and stuff in funding, which is the key area. Is they said, and they're going to now expand into new markets. And some of those markets now are Austin and Atlanta. I've actually got to see a TikTok or somebody hopping in and stuff in Atlanta and stuff. So that was cool to see. Fellas, what you guys thought? Waymo is starting to expand here. I also kind of find it funny that they're expanding days or a couple weeks after Tesla announced the Cybercab as well. And so, look fun kind of competition, poking and stuff there. Adrian, man, we'll start with you. What's your thoughts?
I just think it's interesting. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. The Waymo presence out there is they're just gaining more traction, covering more area. It's, when we have this alongside of the RoboCab promises, it's, I start to question how much can the robotaxi area of the Tesla business be driven by just the appeal of Tesla. Elon Musk and is involved in that as well. Driving that, how can they compete with someone who is handling, really going through all the work of clearing the regulations, normalizing the self-driving cabs? Maybe it is tactical at the end of having them maybe pave the way for, Tesla to maybe expand into those markets too.
Yeah, I think we were chatting a little bit about this and before the show, and like there's such huge value at being the first to actually do something like this at scale, right? What was the folks who
Uber is still riding on that.
Yeah, they're still trying to figure it out. They have deals that they're starting.
Mm-hmm.
You have there was another company that got Cruise. They got kicked out of the Bay Area because they were like crashing into things. So their trust is completely gone. But it's so interesting. I had an on-site last week at my job, and the number of folks after the on-site, they were like, "Hey, I want to get a Waymo." And it became like almost like this novel thing. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Waymo's winning right now, and
Wow.
once you start that lead, it is so hard to catch up. You have to do something. That's
Once it
one thing.
becomes a verb.
Yeah, almost like becomes like Xerox almost. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
get a Waymo. Like I'm gonna Google something. They're they already like I feel like they already have this in the bag now. I feel like the Tesla folks have something interesting because they have these new fancy cars that they're going to introduce, but like the fact that they added a whole nother step in front of them releasing their robotaxi, man, the lead that Waymo's gonna have it's gonna be like Uber or Lyft in some way, right?
Now, describe that step that they have.
Oh, the which one? The step two, like
You said there's an extra step with the robotaxi.
with the robotaxi because they have to build a car.
Yeah.
They have to build a car in order to do this. Uh, there are cars on the road right now that Waymo has. They're like, there's no right now. They just need to acquire customers and increase their brand. Tesla, like, is gonna have to go through that whole process itself. Like, once you're first to the
I
market,
disagree.
well, Tesla's still, oddly enough, while there's lots of Teslas out there, like, it still is associated with more of there's like it's still like a wealth component, even though Teslas have like dropped in prices to it. The everyday person getting a Tesla, interacting with a Tesla is still a novelty, right? To a lot of folks. A lot of
For
folks
sure.
have not actually gotten one. There are folks in San Francisco of all walks of life that have gotten a Waymo because Waymo's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're building their brand around what automated fleet looks like right now, and I think that's there's ground that they can make up being Tesla and having all the personality that's connected to some of that, but I don't know. I expect Waymo to expand their lead that they have right now.
Yeah, I must say I disagree. I'm gonna tell you why. It's the first understanding and the first acceptance and the first awe of self-driving is tied to the brand of Tesla. It's tied to Tesla. Even when you're driving and everything, and people come ask you questions, and they want the first question they ask you is either the self-driving or the battery, and stuff of it. And so that that is a conception that's already planted inside of the human mind, even if it is a seed. And so now, when it's time to make a decision and make the switch to self-driving without a driver, it's like steps are already been made. It's like steps are made versus when you are in Arizona and you might have heard or you might have seen Waymo, there's still elements of trust that you have to go through that process as well. And it's the conception of Tesla's already been doing this. I've heard about it, things like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just hop into it. Like you said, their biggest problem is either they're going to have to go and take those leases. I mean, if they do want to catch up, or if this isn't their plan, whatever, either going to have to take those leases that they said they was going to use and go ahead and start to kind of like turn those on, for Uber, taxi, or whatever you might call it, because as you know, there's no such thing as quick productions, on the manufacturing side with Tesla. And so I think Elon said 2026, which means 2028 stuff and everything. But with also Waymo, they have to build the cars and stuff like that too as well. And so I think it's the entry of autonomous driving, and it's like that entry. A lot of seeds have been planted, and it's a tie to Tesla. With that, Waymo still has to like go build that, particularly outside of the West Coast, and stuff in the rest of the country, as well. And I would say this too as well. While we're looking at Waymo, and we understand that Tesla is about to head in that direction, my concern for 7 million people, and I just know they're waiting to hit this on button, this on switch, is Uber.
Oh, yeah. Uber's not just United States, right? Uber has an international presence. You go to another country, you're not going to see Lyft. You'll see Uber wherever you're going to be as a default system for taxis and things like that. Oddly enough, I feel like that's being able to get to those locations to bring your technology out there. I feel like, Uber is pretty well equipped for it. But trust in public is a big thing. I think Waymo seems to be gaining a lot of steam for it, at least from what I'm seeing in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
it has become more than
it's been there for some years too.
It's been for years, but now, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. You see them all over the place, and people are opting for the Waymo.
They're efficient too. Like they are efficient. I haven't seen a lot of bad experiences. Within the Waymo. And so like they're efficient. As well. I can't remember the autonomous driving one that Domino's is using. I don't remember if it's Waymo or not. But they have cars. I think it's like the Ford Taurus or something like that, and it's like the back seat is a warmer, kind of like not an oven. It's like a warmer that keeps the pizza and stuff warm, and then you put in the code once the car arrives, and the back right window goes down, and then like you can grab the pizza and stuff from there.
I'm gonna have to order some Domino's just for this. Oh wow!
But like, hey, is it gonna be self-driving? No, sir, we're not. Okay, cancel the order. Like,
only do self-driving Domino's pizza.
Oh man.
I
Yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
question about is it still a chance that Tesla can one of the early promises was that you're going to be able to actually this car's going to be able to drive itself and it can be a taxi while you're sleeping. Is that still a potential something that can potentially happen? You
I
guys think?
think, I think it's going to happen in steps. This is what I mean. Going back to the focus right now across the board with artificial intelligence, right now is the connection of tools and the integration of tools and everything. And so, like, okay, we have the foundation models and stuff we built, everything. These things are working. Now, how do we connect it to the rest of the world simply and stuff? That's what the focus is. Same thing right now, in my opinion, is going to happen with the autonomous driving and stuff aspect because I believe that it's not you're gonna it's one major step that they're not talking about, which I believe is going to happen first because it's safer, to happen first, is partnerships and connectivity with other organizations. Example, the ability that your Tesla will be able to sit in a car, you partner it with Target and stuff when you go make an order, and the car go picks up the order on your behalf and then comes back.
Yes.
I think that's where we're headed. Or the ability that you can connect it to, the Atlanta airport. The car goes pick up, your cousin and stuff from the airport and everything, and then comes back and everything. You're also going to have to figure out how to do connectivity and charging in between that too as well. That can be figured out. Another thing too, they were talking about this wireless charging with the Tesla's cab. I don't believe that whatsoever. Anyway, so you're gonna have to like figure that out. So, well, you're gonna figure that out too as well. Once those connectivities and stuff would happen, and it's specifically for the consumer who has Teslas, I think then after that they will start to build where it's like, oh, by the way, connect this to Uber. Connect this to Uber to go make X amount of dollars or anything, in these X amount of hour stuff, too as well. I think that would happen. Yeah, I don't think you'll jump to the next step. I think you focus on the first because the first one still serves the community, and also too, it gives you understanding of infrastructure. Within how to do things like time estimations. How to do allowing somebody's employee into your car, like all different things like that. I think you go there first for the consumer, and then you go to the next one.
Yeah. And because there's a roadmap for that is why I say Tesla is still competitive in the autonomous driving space because that could potentially happen.
I mean that is huge. I mean we're talking about now. I mean a couple of years ago it became mostly like wildly accepted for Ubers, for like Ubers to take your kids and everything to school and things like that. I mean now we're talking about your car is going to go take them to school, drop them off at school, waiting that line or whatever it may be, and then you go pick them up, too as well. And
Yeah.
so and then you're not paying an extra, 25, 30, $40 per day or whatever it may be. You're just using, your own vehicle, to do so. And by the way, you'll have it scheduled. You'll see scheduled charging become more focused and stuff into as well, because then you'll be able to, integrate it with your calendar to understand like what where it needs to go and stuff like in the week. So it'll tell you like, hey, to make sure that I get to daycare, we need to charge. Just like your phone says, hey, charge before you go to bed, or your Apple Watch charge before you go to bed. It'd be the same thing.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go even more futuristic. Is it possible
Bring,
that we see a
bring it
future?
on.
Is it possible that we see a future where people will actually, make money off of that system? So say there's an event happening. Hey, look, we're going to drive to Atlanta and park the Tesla because the Tesla is going to, act as a cab around this stadium, around this game, during this game.
Oh, you're thinking like a
Yeah.
sort of like
Yeah.
self-driving Toro.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure. I feel like that's definitely on their minds, especially that's kind of like the dream, right? When they were building the Teslas, one of the visions was for you to not only have the car that you can use, but the time when you're not using your car can be doing something for you. And it
Hmm.
could be making money for you in that case.
It's like a
Um,
capital good where a normal car depreciates when you drive it off the lot. It definitely affects that because if you're going to be able to earn money back from the car,
I,
then
that, that's
I,
what Uber is kind of built off of. Airbnb is kind of built off of is
that same thing.
unutilized time
yep,
or space, right?
yep.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely inevitable.
I'll take it a step further. Um, as of lately, it seems like Elon's number one enemy, his arch nemesis, is the government. Um,
Or himself.
Little column A, little column B.
yeah, I'll take it a step further. Um, anyone remember one of the main reasons, or probably the main reason, why Amazon Prime got created?
Wasn't it had to do with undercutting FedEx or something or UPS?
Yep, USPS.
It was
Mm.
Yep,
USPS. Okay. All
yep.
right.
It was USPS and everything, and Amazon, they got sick of it, and they created this whole initiative and everything around Amazon Prime, and deliver home packages and things like that. For the ability for your Tesla to go deliver packages, as a delivery driver and stuff like that, where you can make money and stuff too as well. I could 100% see that happening.
Yep.
I can 100%. I can see him doing it as an ego, like an ego thing, just to stick it to the USPS and also to piss off Amazon. Um, as well. And now you're talking about, peer-to-peer packages that can be exchanged with, especially particularly like within the same city. And so, you're just now you're making orders. You're doing orders. You're doing, in some ways you're or like you're doing DoorDash. You're doing package handling. And stuff as well. And it's literally just like your Tesla is just kind of going and stuff as well. And so I think there'd be some time and stuff off, but I can definitely see, that happening. Just for him as just to kind of stick it to some people.
I can only imagine the amount of insurance that Elon Musk has to pay
Yeah,
being like the sole brain person at all these organizations because you have to that's
law,
something like
legal.
you're required to do, right, as a fiduciary, is to have some type of insurance to make sure that a company can continue on without you. Like, I've never seen this many businesses that are hinging on one person. I feel like SpaceX is a little bit more autonomous now, but he's
Hmm.
definitely like the
He's heavily
tweezers that
involved.
that
Yeah.
catches a giant rocket.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that came from the mind of like Elon Musk or someone that like he's brought into that orbit.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I think that's gonna be. I think that's interesting. Like, all these things are hopes and dreams are really attached to this one person. If he gets bored or changes his mind, like
But can we
we're
just
all
talk a
gonna be
little
pissed
bit?
off, right?
Can we just mention a little bit about that? The catching of the rocket. You know, just looking at the progression here. I saw them try to land the cylinder back down, which is basically the flip the bottle game. You know what I mean? It was falling, and it was difficult to get that to stick that landing.
Yeah.
Particularly, you got you know exhaust and acceleration to decelerate perfectly to get this thing to land flat. It makes so much more sense to catch the rocket.
It
Uh,
does.
like how
It makes sense, but like at the same time, it's crazy because it's
It's
like the
cool.
size of a
hmm
skyscraper.
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really it's really big. It's like
Hmm.
you're catching a skyscraper with tweezers in
yeah.
midair. But yeah, it's an amazing idea, and that the way that they pulled it off is like, oh, all right, well, we just like made a huge step for humanity just now. Off
For
of
sure.
this quick idea here. So
Yeah.
Now I
I also
know
think
you. That
I
you
said
good?
also think this is like this is one of the main reasons that kind of almost what you said, Sekou, but from a company standpoint, it's also one of the main reasons why they created the Tesla car insurance. It's to hinge their bets, as well. And so the ability that your car will be to do autonomous things, and I would imagine you probably have to have Tesla insurance because I just know
no one's gonna
I can
cover for
see,
that.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
No
yeah,
one's cover that.
and so
Wow.
Tesla was like,
That State Farm
sure,
guy is not showing up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Tesla was like, yeah, we got it. Switch over to Tesla insurance and everything, and we'll take care of it, everything at a low rate and stuff, whatever it may be. And so I think this is why one of the early reasons why they switched over, to announce the Tesla insurance because of things like this where they get ready for it, which is just it's the right hook you don't see coming, and that's going to hit a lot of like a lot. I mean, insurance itself that's its own discussion,
Hmm. Hmm.
everything, and so but that's the right hook you don't see coming because that's going to impact a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Mhm. Well, also too, speaking of Elon, he has announced this thing, the XAI Colossus, which is a supercomputer. It says environmental considerations of such massive compute is going to power, and the SMR role is sustainable energy. It says the role of the super micro, and the specialized SMR power source in building, this infrastructure. Um, Sekou, this is one of your the one of your expertises and stuff in the area, man. What's your thoughts here on
Yeah.
XAI turning
You
on
know.
this? Yeah,
Yeah. With it is it's a pretty big feat. So it looks like they partner with Supermicro to get this environment built out. It says that it took 19 days to rack, stack, plug in, put OSs on these systems, you know, and like that alone is crazy. Like how many engineers it takes to do that, the level of automation that it takes to make sure you have to have in place. Um, there the thing that I think the thing that like you have to remember when I guess when they even give you the numbers of 19 days is like that's really like racking and stacking machines and getting them going, which is a big feat.
It's a
But
physical feat too when you think
it,
about it, like
yeah,
along with technical feat.
yeah, and I question like were there robots involved here? Because like I can't
Yeah.
imagine like how like I worked in data centers, right? And like your back will be shot just plugging in cables, right?
Mhm.
You ever see the what's it, the videos on YouTube or TikTok of people who used to do those dances, stuff like that from like
Mm-hmm.
the late '90s, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and them and these same folks in their 40s with their bad knees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot on
Yeah,
the body. But
yeah,
the thing that kind of like comes up is it kind of connects to the maybe this topic we're talking about of like powering these things. Like
yeah.
it was every what was it using H100s. So for H100, it pulls about at least at peak maybe 700 watts per H100, right? Times that times a
Well,
hundred thousand, right?
it's a little bit less. It's at 300 watts per GPU.
300 watts per GPU. But is that
Yeah.
peak or is that like average? I guess that's the
That's probably an average.
Right, average.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably not running at peak at all times. But just the idea, like the amount of power that is, you times that by 100,000, and you start to understand a little bit more around why companies are seeking nuclear reactors
Or compute.
for their
Yeah.
data center.
Yeah.
Small modular nuclear reactors for their data centers, and it all kind of comes together, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Adrian.
Because it's going to be us talking about how that was set up so quickly sounds like us discussing how the pyramids are built. How did people put this together? But I guess when there's a will, there's a way. So I agree with you that the conversation does turn into power. I'm sure all of you have maybe felt or just questioned a little bit when you put a query or a prompt into ChatGPT, just how much energy, especially when it takes a while to come back. It's like, man, is there like a whole coal plant burning to give me back this answer? Like, how much power am I using and contributing to the overall consumption of this system per query? It's interesting, but so for the amount of energy that it takes to run this supercluster, it's perfectly suited for the SMRs that are coming out, which cover power within that range. Which you're talking about like roughly like 50,000 homes that it could power. So there's also, on the top disruptive stock list, you start to see the appearance of companies that do that, that are setting up these SMRs. And the more that I looked into it, it's so funny that when I'm curious about something, I look into it and Bill Gates is already involved in it. He's already there. So he has a SMR company as well. So it's smaller footprint, smaller geographic footprint, and it's these small nuclear reactors could be perfect for these data centers, these big GPU clusters that are being stood up by these companies. So it's an ad for that too, as well.
Here's
Here's
a question. In our cell phone life network, what was after CDMA? CDMA switched to the GSM?
CDMA and GSM were two competing ones, and then we switched to LTE. Right?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we saw the switch from CDMA to LTE. Underneath the kind of LTE umbrella, we got the 2G, 3G, and then we start to see the expansion to 4G and now 5G, and what is looking like soon here, the infrastructure. If I guess you're going to continue it, we'll call it 6G unless it switches to something else. But with that, I would argue from 3G, particularly to 5G, we saw an expansion of IoT devices. And that was one of the reasons to do so is because you needed more kind of like pathways, highways, and stuff, if you will, for it not to kind of like get a traffic jam here on the network, and stuff when it comes to like speed and access. Post that, as well in this 5G world, now you have individuals who they're having drone companies. They're doing things like drone photography. They're doing things like drone drone artwork, or like fireworks and things like that. So you're
light
having
shows.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, light shows. Stuff. You're starting to see kind of like more even online RC cars and stuff where people are having races, competitions, and things like that. Having fun, which that itself can become a business as well, along with the things that we've already been experiencing, from your Alexas to your to your Siri devices, Google, things like that too as well, which is also aspects of business too as well. The question is, we saw what that network did when increased opportunity for capacity. The increase of GPUs, data centers, it's going to increase the capacity, for rendering, for clustering. I'm not sorry, for rendering, for inference, and all these things like that. The question is, what is the output of that for your consumer, for your everyday person? Like, what are some other opportunities you think we'll see once we kind of have let's call it more compute? What's your guys' thoughts there?
Well, I think that we're betting on the promises of the big players and how they're going to use it. Like Meta, they continue to dump a lot of money into AI with promises that this is going to enhance the metaverse and the other billion things that they do in order to make better products for the consumer. So really, I would say firstly, it's just trusting.
Hold on, do me a favor, switch it. I want you to talk to the listener, the consumer, and everything, and give me some ideas of how they're going to benefit. So, for example, it was very hard to predict that from 3G to 5G that somebody may be able to start their own drone company, and stuff and everything. And so, give me some ideas where you think, the listeners up here will maybe able to, how some things we'll be able to benefit from, or how they be able to start their business, what type of things, stuff you'll come out of this, as well.
Well, I would hope the businesses, number one, I would hope that it supports local municipalities. So it would enable the local municipalities there to be able to analyze water consumption, energy consumption, all the data in order to optimize how those systems work, and maybe predict, give some predictive analysis as well. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Singapore is working on something similar. Well, actually, they launched it like 2 years ago. Civil servant AI allows the civilians there to tap into their government-led AI, where they can ask questions, get understanding of laws. Hey, where do I go directly to get this get this license or whatever for my business, and things like that. So yeah, I like that. That definitely can be a benefit for the consumer. Sekou, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I think actually our government is like telling folks that the government should be using AI, right, for doing things. But one caveat that they've thrown out is that we shouldn't be using AI to do decision making itself, but we should be incorporating in all parts of the actual government itself. So there's some big pushes happening in the U.S. from there. When the government do stuff, I'm sure there's like there's a tactical advantage that we're trying to actually build from that, but those things that they build eventually do come to consumers. They eventually do roll out broader than just for themselves. But they're super slow. It's the slowest thing in the world. Don't wait for them. I don't know. I think right now, I wish. I want to get more efficiency in the technology, to get it closer to running on our devices, better chips that we can run locally, because companies they only have the interest to actually hoard. They don't have there's nothing driving them to truly be open. Now Facebook does some amazing things with Llama, but it's it's for a different reason. It's for impeding progress to the rest of the industry. So
it's indirect competition. Yeah.
Well, it's impeding their money. I mean, the progress I feel like is being made, but if you release
Yeah.
something free that does 80% of what you're charging a premium for,
We need to, I think, in order for us to like realize a place where like the everyday person can really take advantage of this technology, it needs to get on devices. It needs to no longer, it needs to get out of the NVIDIA, world or NVIDIA regime. I guess we can call it now because they're that big, right? Um,
yep.
I think that's the blocker right now. And with efficiency is coming, so folks are making chips that can do more, um, and that I think that'll get us close to being able to do some of these things on devices that are like local to us or like appliances at least that we can actually have in house and really start push further because there's still that level of trust. It's not everyday person is not. You would think most people are using these AI tools right now just for writing and things like that, but that is not the case. Actually, there's a study that was recently done that's actually saying that the adoption rate of AI tools is actually trending in the direction of males and females. And it actually hasn't actually gotten as close, which is like it's like interesting. Like, no, there's a gender gap in this area too. But like, I don't know. And we need more of a Linux type offering for these technologies. Things that are closer to consumers before it can really truly be useful. Just having something that companies are producing and giving, that only needs to go so far because the interest isn't truly the consumers. The interest is profits, right? So
Yep.
helping you start your job. If you start your job and allows you to buy more products from Shopify or something like that, great. That's a good AI integration. But like if there's not like general tools they're gonna come to you that don't like have like a steep, you can see how like you look at how much we're paying for AI tools right now. It's kind of crazy. Like I was looking at my account, all the different little things that I'm using, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. This is not sustainable. I know that I'm a hobbyist, so I can, I'm investing in my hobby, but like this is not sustainable for a normal person. So
yeah. Three things. Mark Andreessen said something very interesting. He was just on Impact Theory podcast, and he said that we're in a world right now where somebody can go build a $20 million AI solution, and it is not more impactful than your $20 version from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And like your everyday consumer and stuff like have access to that. Also think too as well, kind of like piggyback on what you just said, Sekou, is the other side of compute. The other side of these GPU superclusters you mentioned is on device models and on device and stuff experience and everything.
yeah,
Typically on device sounds like your cell phone. I'm gonna take it a step further and say this is where we really start to see robotics rise. On the other side of that, so if it's your what's the Tesla robot called?
Optimus.
Yeah, Optimus. If it's your Optimus, if it's something from Boston Dynamics, I know Google. Actually, no, DeepMind is there. They got a few. They have a few things now in the office, where like it'll show somebody if somebody like a new employee, it'll have them check in, and the robot itself will like walk them or roll them, direct them, to their desk, and stuff, for for a new employee. So yes, I do agree with the on device backside of this. I think that on device will be insanely beneficial for the consumer as well. Watch this. We're human beings are creative, as well. I can guarantee you, the minute those things get launched at a friendly consumer price, like what it may be. I mean, right now I think it's rumored to be like $30,000, for Optimus and stuff, whatever it may be. I can guarantee you're gonna start to see entire companies pop up simply for accessories of your Optimus.
Yeah.
Yep. I can see
Clothing, hats,
Yep.
that.
jewelry,
Mhm.
other connectivity devices stuff. So it'll be, it'll have, if somebody doesn't, it'll basically have it like its own phone, and stuff that you can call it and everything to request it and stuff. I can guarantee, and stuff. And so that also too, introduces new jobs and new workforce and everything off of something that we thought was going to just kind of wipe us out or take us out where it may be. And so
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of those things that we'll definitely, see. Like somebody's gonna become a millionaire building Optimus accessories.
Yeah.
Stuff, and
I'm imagining like the NBA 2K outfits that you can buy for your character. You can imagine those things.
Yeah.
Folks buying those outfits
Absolutely.
for the Optimus.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
still say it's going to be the robot dogs. If Boston Dynamics just decides to release a little one, this little toy poodle size dog
People
that
love
you can
dogs.
train
Well,
and you can do that, man. Oh,
Oh yeah.
people would love
well,
that.
on that same podcast, Mark G said he has two from Boston
Two
Dynamics.
robot dogs. Yeah.
That's running around the house. He said he
Yeah.
has two. He said they have. He said the one. I think the one just have the legs and everything. They have one that's like has wheels and everything too as well. But he said, yeah, he said it runs around the house or it goes upstairs and stuff. He said it can outrun you, as
Mhm.
well. And so yeah, he said he has two.
That's
Wow.
great. That's great. And maybe there'll be that once that gets launched, and it's more publicly available, there'll be, training data that people will like monetize and upgrades and
Absolutely.
add-ins,
Absolutely. I mean, this is the entry of the Matrix.
Mhm.
Where you download, some type of like program that you want your dog to start doing or
Mhm.
playing, but also too, there's there's benefits to it as well. So like now, sending your Boston Dynamic dog in the car with your child who is getting autonomously delivered to school just as a extra layer of protection. That's a lot of money. And anyway,
Well,
this is
it's
an extra level
a
of
bear
protection.
dog,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and stuff. And so yeah, this is going to be a wild world. So if we live in,
It's gonna be
guys,
wild.
that means we need to make AI with friends, Optimus T-shirts,
Yep.
specifically fit to size, hoodies.
Mhm.
We'll go the whole nine and stuff here.
Yep.
Yeah. And make it so you can maybe pick your outfit to put on top of your Optimus on your shirt.
For sure. I think when like one of those big those big fashion houses, when they do the entire show, the entire
Oh my
runway show with
god,
just Optimus robots.
You're so right. I can see it. I can
That's
so see it.
They
You're
got to be
so
working on
right.
that now.
Yeah, it's funny, and we're going to see all this before GTA 6. All right, so here we go. All right, so Meta has announced a new tool, a new competitor, stuff in this C-suite of tools. Meta has introduced NotebookLLama. This is obviously a direct competitor to Google's Notebook LM. And everything. So the ability to develop, take it to do RAG applications to have outputs of things like podcasts, summarizations, things like this. And so Meta has said, hey, we want to jump into this marketing tool as well. Yes, Google, we see your Notebook LM and we raise you NotebookLLama. Adrian, back to you, man. What's your thoughts and stuff here? And also too, wait, my bad. It also is free too as well. And so we know right now Notebook LM is free for the time being, we know that is coming from Google. But Meta said, yes, we see you. We're gonna have it for you stuff here as well. Adrian, what's your thoughts on the notebook industry? It's just
Yeah.
and the competitive landscape and stuff here.
Well, I think that I can't help but speculate that this is serving Meta by decreasing the value of the other AI tools. So I think I mentioned previously too, if you release something for free that does about 80% well, or 80, 90% well as the one that's released at a premium, it decreases the value overall of the premium product. So while we're in the discussion about tooling really being the really way that AI companies are going to make money by having the appropriate tooling, Meta is not necessarily doing that. So they're not keeping up, as far as I know, with the tooling side of it and releasing those products that leverage the Llama models. But what they're doing instead is just, okay, instead of developing, what we're going to do is kind of level the playing field out there until we get ourselves together on what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I feel like
Sekou?
this is it's like
That's a great point.
arms race, right? It's like a nuclear arms race between all these different offerings from these companies that are, pretty hostile against each other. So what Meta did, they pretty much they released this product open source, like pretty much like they've released like a couple of Juniper notebooks that not only describe how to do it yourself, but someone actually just put like something on Hugging Face that like you can go and mess around with, and it's basically made it so that the chances of this coming out of Google Labs and being a successful product and not having good competition, like it's definitely going to have competition. Someone's going to make something that is more well integrated, because right now it's still in Google Labs, and the way that Google Labs work is actually it's almost like a separate part of Google.
Yeah.
They don't have the same type of integration into product and things like that. They put
employment benefits.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can I explain real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Please.
So how Google Labs, I would argue they kind of adapt this from Apple and everything, and then they make some iterations stuff around it. And so basically, when a project goes into secret and stuff at Google, or they want to kind of see, or somebody has an idea where they feel like this product or service would benefit Google, it puts this category and just get puts into Google Labs. And so then, you either assign a team, you go to recruit your team, things like that. So for example, you have 10 players, everything, who are building, this tool, this service, and so forth. And so you get a runway, and you get resources and things like that to build this and thing. And then initially you launch in beta. And so, once you launch in beta and everything, and then you start to make your steps and stuff, for now. So at some point, that you present this back to, leadership and everything, and then make a decision on if they want to proceed or if they want to cancel the project. The unfortunate thing about it, if they cancel the project, you also can lose your job, and stuff with it, and so, which is a risk and everything, is risk reward type to it. But if they take on the project and everything, now you potentially are now like the VP, everything, or the VP stuff of like this new area of Google, that you help, kind of like birth, to as well. And so, that's like how that process worked. And they did the same thing too with the autonomous driving. They recruited Sebastian Thurn from Udacity, to come do this. Sebastian was clever because at the time he was still working at Udacity. He figured out a way where he was like, hey, I'll come help you guys, come do this and everything on the research side of the self-driving, car. but I'm still going to work at Udacity. Because I know how you guys work. so just in case you decide to cancel this, guess who's not messed up?
Yeah.
So that's how that process works and everything. So it's a risk reward and stuff there, but you kind of like hedging your bets on that this could work and it's gonna go through. But there's definitely some risk and stuff there. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think for for Notebook LM, what they're doing right now is there's the good part that's coming out of this is that, hey, I now have a new free tool. They provide a workflow for how to actually do this. If I'm interested in creating a product that can actually serve folks better, I can now do that now. And now you're still facing, Google. They can actually go and integrate this into a product and get the labs team everything they need to be able to kind of scale this and figure out how to monetize this Notebook LM. But the chances of them actually investing in doing that is dramatically decreased now. Which I don't know. This is, for the consumers, this is great. But like Meta's use of open source to like navigate and like depower all their
to weaponize.
Just like to depower it. Like it's pretty genius. I gotta give them credit. And the fact they're using open source to do that, it kind of still feels, I don't know, it feels like some of the spirit that we had in the early 2000s when this tech was this type of tech was like really building up. Like I like it. So I'm super happy that Meta did this. And of course, I'm gonna try to figure out what I can build. That's exactly what's gonna happen. So,
yep. Some of the other products that came out of Google Labs is Maps, Reader, Docs, Groups, Trends, Calendar, Voice Search. So there's a chance that it gets integrated into its suite of tools, like those did in some way.
Yeah. It definitely have. There's like you said, there's definitely a benefit and everything there, and it definitely can work. But again, if it doesn't, they don't see this as a useful, process of their time. It definitely can backfire and stuff on you.
I was surprised. You know how Google operates. I was surprised that they merged those teams, the DeepMind and the wasn't there a merge? They merged the teams. Yeah.
DeepMind and the assistance team are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one. Because DeepMind was the one who beat AlphaGo, or was that AlphaGo when that won that? It was kind of a historic event when they beat a chess champion, or something to that order. But yeah.
I'm looking for I can't because you just said something interesting and I can't find it. This also too with Meta making these moves, this kind of goes back what you said being first to market. Because I can't remember the name. It's like tip of my tongue, but being like first to market and stuff as well. You guys, you and I'm pretty sure we talked about this. You guys know like Facebook at the time introduced ChatGPT, a version of ChatGPT, like 90 days before OpenAI did.
Oh, interesting.
It was focused on research and like the research team, and like the research audience and stuff as well. And the research audience they didn't feel like that this was ethical. They felt it was wrong, and they like they went off on Twitter, and Facebook closed it down and they shut it down. And then like 90 days later, OpenAI announced ChatGPT, and the world changed. And the world changed.
Yeah, I do feel like, so for me, I feel like Notebook LM has that Chat GPT potential. I think the more folks that use this tool, are gonna realize how powerful it is. We were talking earlier about like, you know, putting in like right now it's a really interesting learning tool. Like being able to put in a research paper into Notebook LM, having it create a podcast which goes through different details and types of questions that you think you would end up having to ask about that while giving a complete overview. Um, like if for me, it's like a new way to learn in some ways.
It's the Matrix.
Where
It's downloading it, and now you know kung fu.
yeah, now I know
Hmm.
kung fu, and it's the
Galactia,
back and
Galactia.
the way that they go back and forth and they're kind of interrupting each other, that natural flow. It is quite interesting, and I can actually really see folks using this for doing peer reviews. That's like a big thing. Like every year companies got to go through and pull in. every year you have to like do like these reviews of your peers and pull in all their um, documents and things that they've done, interactions that you've had, and then write up a story of that interaction. Like, what if they can provide that information to you and they provide you a notebook overview session going over that information? Like, imagine how rich like, if that
Sekou,
review that you can do would be, right?
watch this. You still have to have a human in the loop because are you going to trust human beings to keep up with all of that information, and stuff as they go along with like peer reviews and stuff, or do most of us at the last minute, start to like try to gather all your stuff.
Oh, the worst of us is gonna come out for that because when it comes to reviews, it's like, oh man, I'm not gonna spend time on this. Send, like
Yep.
that's exactly what's gonna end up happening, right? That's
Yeah,
exactly what's gonna happen. So,
that's funny. The Facebook uh AI tool I was talking about is called Galactia. It's
Galactia. Okay.
yeah, yeah. They shut it down like 90 days before ChatGPT. And yeah, ChatGPT got launched, and then the whole universe got changed.
Wow.
mm, mm,
hmm
wow.
Speaking of ChatGPT, OpenAI has announced they are going to step into the chip making game. Said they're going to look to partner with companies like Broadband and TSMC to kind of develop its own AI chips. Um, Sekou, man, going back to you, what's your thoughts and stuff here? We
Um,
know, yes. What's your thoughts stuff here? We know that these things are needed. It's going to kind of come, kind of going back into the same conversation with Elon and X stuff over there. What's your thoughts on here with AI decided to step into the chip game?
that makes sense. It makes sense. So, ChatGPT, the amount of money that no ChatGPT, the OpenAI and their products rely on these GPUs and um, for training and inference right now, and they're optimized for using transformers, right? And in order to like get them to get things to like a level of efficiency that's required for them to actually get to some of their AGI goals and things like that, like the current paradigm of you know spinning up all these GPUs, even if
Mhm.
NVIDIA continues to progress and things like that, that is still a tricky place to sit in. Having a spending time to get some custom chips created for you that are optimized specifically for your code base means one, you'll probably end up spending a lot less for amount of hardware that you need. The funding that they've gotten is going to stretch longer. The chances of
Yeah,
them getting taken over by Microsoft or another, well, probably Microsoft is the only person that's going to, gobble up OpenAI reduces slightly, because they're going to have to ask for more money eventually. So the more that they can fit within what they have right now, I think that's going to be the best for them. And if ChatGPT's model ever, not that it'll ever become open. If it became open, this would be even a greater thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to actually have those models running outside of their world and access to these chips, like that's it. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting thing. That would be something that would probably benefit more folks. But they're just trying to stretch their dollars, and it makes a lot of sense that they're going and seeking out optimizations for their own, software stack.
Yeah, I think I think this was only a matter of time. Even more so with them also too. I think a lot of people forget they're also behind the scenes working on the hardware side of things as well. So we still haven't seen this device that they're partnering with Johnny Ivy, former head of design over at Apple. So we don't know if that's going to be an on-demand device, if it's going to be a phone, if it's going to be a wearable. I would love for it to be a competitor or a wipeout of the AI pen. Yeah, I would love that. But it also could be a VR device, too as well. And so, we don't know yet. But with all that being said, we're still going to need, they're still going to need their. I can see why they're doing this, but they're going to need their own chips, their own computer, and the ability to serve, kind of self-serve and everything sides with their inference and stuff. And so, yeah, but
Can I add one thing? I think there's one thing that's also a little strange about this. OpenAI doesn't have their own data centers. They're getting chips, so this has to be for devices that are going to be consumer based. Like it doesn't make any sense to have custom chips, which custom chips require custom motherboards. Custom motherboards require custom chassis. Like, and it's a strange situation to do that when you don't actually own any actual hardware itself.
interesting.
Right?
Well, that changes my whole thoughts about them making chips, because I thought that it was to go into their existing data centers. But are they backed by Amazon? Is it Amazon or
It's all
It's
Azure,
Microsoft.
right?
Yeah.
Microsoft on the back end?
Microsoft, like, why are they making chips? Why is Microsoft not making chips? Well, Microsoft is they are doing investments in chips and things like that. But the fact that OpenAI is trying to build their own, like, I am a little puzzled about where 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 this chip is going to go and what form factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
with that, yeah, it definitely has to be like a on device. But also too, that is I would imagine such an expensive roadmap in this area of developing your chip with having the understanding of the proper ROI. It's going to have to be something for your everyday consumer.
Oh, I just saw that it is an inference chip. So, yeah,
Yeah, it's going to have to be something for your everyday consumer.
yeah.
Now, the significance of it being an inference chip is what?
Is that's when you want to run ChatGPT and ask a question, you're doing inference as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to training. Inference is like that's like that's CPUs are actually really good for that, as opposed to GPUs really excel at the training aspect of it. So if they're making a custom chip that's for inference, more likely it's connected to a particular device that's
Mhm.
out there.
Okay.
That they're trying to that they're thinking of. We don't know what the device is, but it's definitely something that may not go in a data center, because inference is it's a challenge, but it's not the same challenge as the GPU challenges out there, and power consumption is very different.
Okay.
AKA rabbit count your days. Anyway, Adrian, what's your thoughts?
Well, that's what I mean. My mind went immediately to Rabbit, because it's what if this is a device, something that's going to be a device that these chips are going to go into. That's exactly what we would want Rabbit to be. Something that has an LLM that lives on the device and is super smart and super fast. You know, when I initially heard it about them creating their own chips, I thought that it was, you know, really just gobbling up your supply chain. So, you know, if you're a newspaper company, it would behoove you to own the forest, you know, that the paper comes from. So I thought it was just typical, you know, typical stuff, typical business in America kind of methodology there. But now, after hearing that, you know, it really does have broader implications, for sure.
I'm going to make a prediction, Mr. Up here. I'm gonna make a prediction. On-demand device. Maybe this is just the wish in me, but I'm going to make a prediction that they will launch a AI pen type device that they're going to integrate it though. I mean, they're partnering with, you know, Johnny Ivy, which knows, you know, very well and deeply how the iPhone works. And they already have, you know, certain partnerships and, you know, landscape and stuff like that. I'm going to argue, I'm going to say they're going to make a device that will probably going to lead the market on an on-demand device that you can have access to. I mean, the reason you partner with you know, John Ivy, I mean, his mind on the design side is just, you know, next level, you know, but a lot of things they designed was also included in removing steps for the consumer, you know, stuff. And so, you know, the famous quote of 1,000 songs in your pocket, you know, remove steps from, you know, CD player to record player to tape player, things like that, like what it might be, to be able to go, you know, listen to songs and everything. And so I would say the functionality and the design and stuff of it, what they build, will remove the step of having to go to your computer or your phone to access ChatGPT. It would be a wearable of some sort. It would be a device, glasses, heads, something, earphone, like it'd be something around that will remove the step of the need to log in, internet, you know, all those things like that to get access to ChatGPT. And you will just be able to button clip, hey, you know, hey Doug, whatever you know, name your AI assistant, like whatever it may be. And it will remove that process. And I think that is why you develop the chips. That's also too why you partner with Johnny Ivy. And you know, when you do that, because then you don't have to go build, like Sekou said, you know, you don't have to necessarily go build your own like your own not cloud infrastructure, but your own data center if you're going to do the chip and everything that will handle the infra side that will live, you know, inside of, you know, a local on-demand device. So yeah.
Okay. And just a fair warning too, I just want to put out to the viewers, when this happens, be sure to tell your, you know, whatever you name it, say Doug, your GPT AI on device, intelligence that's on you, tell it not to snitch, because there's going to be some ransoms. No, hear me out. There's going to be some ransoms where people are going to be like, hey, look what we got. Hey, this is Doug. They kidnapped me. Oh my God, what am I going to do? You don't want that to happen. If someone gets their hands on your device, you got to tell it, hey, look, don't, you know, it's got your social, it's got everything in there. You know,
snitches get unplugged.
Get unplugged.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Add that into my my prompts from now on. Just have that somewhere at the bottom.
Look, that's gonna be a T-shirt for Optimus. Snitches get unplugged.
Yeah, we need to adapt, maybe adapt like Biggie's commandments into just like a kind of GPT commandments.
Wow.
Oh man, the AI rules here from the culture. Oh man,
give it the
That
tablets.
is hilarious.
Yeah,
that is hilarious. There we go. Look, K agrees. Snitches get unplugged. Coming to a shirt near you.
Yep.
We will be introducing our store account stuff pretty here soon. Stuff. Snitches get unplugged.
Snitches get unplugged.
Dash AI with friends.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Okay. Well, guys, man, this has been unique, and stuff for us. We have, shifted and everything. We had some technical issues, stuff. Typically, we run our live stream every Wednesday, 9 p.m., and we had to shift and everything. We did the morning schedule because also, man, we didn't want to miss you guys. We want to make sure we still deliver, the content and stuff here. Snitches Get Unplugged would have never been birthed, if it wasn't, for you guys. So, yeah, but man, we had the privilege, and stuff over here of, discussing, everything from Elon's, is coming in with the 1,000 GPUs per cluster, OpenAI and developing their first custom chip, from broadband. Waymo has now also introduced their $5.6 billion expansion, particularly into new markets like Austin and Atlanta. Then also Meta, they've also introduced a new free AI tool as they continuously to kind of get a quick jabs to the industry with endorsing, make sure they put free tool stuff out there, and they introduced NotebookLLama, which is a competitor to Google's Notebook LLM. And so yeah, man, I think it was a great episode, fellas, man, what you guys think?
I thought it's one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It was very quotable. I'm already making a shirt right now, so.
Oh no, I'm so serious about that. Dude,
it's happening.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to look at the graphics. Like, what's going to be the graphic that's going to go with it?
I'm so serious and stuff with that. We're going to set up a Printful account, and stuff of it. Stitches Get Unplugged. We'll figure out the designs.
Yeah,
guys, stay tuned and stuff with us, and this is going to be the launch here of our. Man, that's hilarious. And so yeah, Kay, stay tuned and stuff there as well. We'll get you a shirt and stuff there. And so yeah, man, we're gonna start quoting, because we want to start to have some of the industry people bite off of us. So we're gonna start quoting a lot of our stuff and branding it and putting it on shirts and stuff here, and so yeah, man, Snitches Get Unplugged from AI with Friends.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, man, Adrian, give your closing out and stuff here.
Guys, I don't know. I typically don't close out. You gonna throw the ball to me, Marlon? All right,
yeah, man.
Guys, we had fun. It's been great. I'll see you next time.
There it is. All right, guys.
All right. Bye.